Excuse me. Good morning, traders. Today is Friday, May 6th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. Totally lost track of time. Didn't even realize the market was about to open. Okay, so what are we looking at here today? Well, I will just say, going into the market this morning, I am feeling bearish. There's been a lot of talk about relief rally or rotation or things like that. But to me, both of those are certainly possible. We may push up into, these single prints that we left behind yesterday at 41.82 or 41.16 if we get a bit of a relief rally, or we might just grind around inside the value area from yesterday, much like the overnight did. But in my mind, the highest probability is continuation to the downside. And my reason for that is the fact that we broke the balance area low yesterday. And since we did, we have been remaining below it. So that is a sign of a breakout to the downside. We also have a trend beginning in value being overlapping to lower yesterday. So to me, the market has got a lot more further downside continuation ahead before we get the capitulation that'll give us a relief rally. So I think, if we can get below yesterday's low, come back up and find some resistance, the low from 5.2 is in play. So if we get below 4,100 and we find resistance there, 40.58 will be in play, and then monitor for continuation to the downside. As far as looking above, there's going to be resistance in both these nodes as there was in the overnight. So if we look at this area from yesterday, and then we see where they had the resistance in the overnight, it was the same sort of area, or support and resistance. So I expect there'll be sellers waiting in this whole area. And if we can get through all of that, get back up above, say, the overnight high, and come back down and find support, I could look for a long trade to backfill the first set of single prints to 41.82, but definitely would expect some resistance there. And same thing with the set of single prints above, 42.16. I would expect resistance there as well. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to get stuck in this overnight range and then likely trade lower. Opening inside the previous day's range does increase the odds first thing in the morning this morning that we're going to get some grind, some chop, as the market tries to figure out which way it wants to go. And the overnight inventory was net short, so we would expect some kind of counter auction to the upside. If that was it, I'm not saying it is because we're expecting chop, but if that was it, that would be very bearish. That's all the counter auction that we got. So let's just let it grind around for a minute. We'll keep an eye on yesterday's low, and we'll see how it reacts there. If it breaks that low, it gets really bearish really quick. Good morning, Scooball. Good to see you. Arthur, welcome. MW in the house. Cyrus is here. T-Bay, Jose, Rev, and Greg all hanging out. Welcome, welcome. McStockster is here. Cortman says, ahoy, me hearties. The Shaw in the house. Hustler forever. Good to see you. Anita back with us. Jay Trader is here. Hustler forever. Add some pressure to that like button. I like that. Just give it a gentle little nudge, As always, love those likes. They're a great way to show support for the channel. Great way to say thank you to me. And it doesn't cost you a thing. Nor Auto Trader, good morning to you. RK Leon in the house. Welcome. JB is with us. Jocklo is here. Boss Man Dean. Pavel, Jack, TV. The list goes on and on. Good morning, everyone. Eldora, good to see you. Money Kiddo. Hello, everybody, and hello, Mr. Letter Chart. Those letters are called TPOs, Time Price Opportunities. All right, things getting bearish here as we push down to yesterday's low. The A period low is now weak and in need of repair. Getting below that low to repair it would be bearish. And in my opinion, if we push below, come back up and find resistance, that would be sellable for continuation down to, at the very least, 40.68, if not 56. I also just got an alert that the Bitcoin is selling off. I knew I should have unloaded some last night. Oh, well. All right, well, this morning is starting. Already bearish. No real counter auction to the overnight activity. That is bearish. Value overlapping to lower once again. That is bearish. Pushing below yesterday's low. That is bearish. So I am officially bearish. Looking for resistance at yesterday's low. And they will only get me back to neutral if they can get back above the opening price at 41.17. Otherwise, I expect continuation to the downside to test 68 or 56 and then monitor for continuation lower. Scooball Pirate Traders, what if the balance area low is lower than you assume? We got buyers 3 times in the same area at that low. Well, it's a fair question. Let me look at it on the daily. I'm pretty much, my balance area right now is actually based on what happened like a month ago. Yeah, so I was measuring it based on this right here. You know, often previous balance acts as balance once again. And so then the question is, you measure, you know, what what causes the market to reverse? Well, look at that right there. At that exact same level, we reversed right back up. So that to me is a safe bet. Yeah, we did, break down, and we got a huge, we broke out on this day and we got a huge move lower. Not quite the size of the full range, but we got a huge move lower. And then, that to me, that support was really just people hoping that the FOMC would break the downtrend. But so yeah, I still see this as the balance area up here. We may be starting to form a new one. We may start balancing in this area down here. But I see yesterday as failing at that low, and the overnight as confirmation of that failure, which is bearish, Justin, good morning. John, good morning to you. Philip is here. Rugsy, John Lash, Rocky, Chris Cake, welcome to you. Phoenix, salutations. Rugsy, no relief on the ticks yet. Yeah, we should push back up to the zero line, but the question is, what does price do? Right? Do we push right up into resistance and then sell off? All right, so looking at the NQ here, exactly the same story as the ES. Former balance area, broke out of that balance yesterday. Resistance in that balance in the overnight increases the odds of continuation lower. The size of the balance area. Okay. We got value. Same thing with value. Now trending lower. Third day in a row, overlapping to lower value. That is a sign of momentum to the downside. I have to look at the daily for support resistance. Man, things get messy if we break the low today. Probably 12,458. Looking for support in there. You got a balance area. That is well within range as a breakout of balance. Bear. Okay, ticks couldn't even get back to the zero line before new sellers piled on. That is also bearish. Getting good taper at the low, though. So we may get some support around 40.69 for a push back up to test yesterday's low. Rugsy looking like a repeat of yesterday. I don't know if it'll play out like yesterday. but it is bearish. Xavier, good morning to you. Alex, do you mean support? I don't know. Did I misspeak? Did I say resistance when I meant support? Just keeping you on your toes. Greg H, hard to short with no counter auction. Nothing wrong with waiting for a bounce and then selling resistance. Nothing wrong with that. The only thing I wouldn't recommend is trying to catch the falling knife. Phoenix 4K would be the target using the previous balance area, correct? A breakout normally goes the full distance of the balance area. I think you talked about that yesterday. Yep, that is the normal thing to do. It's a little more complex. Like I just talked about this recently. Like I've never really traded in a bear market with the two-way auction process before. So I don't know how exact I want to think about things. But yep. That's what the probability says. And I have no doubt if we break the low from 5.2 that we're going to have some serious selling that will take place. Scooball, what about a rotational day after so much volatility in the last 2 days? It's certainly possible, but yesterday was rotational, right? Like we went rotational yesterday and it lasted like an hour and then we were selling off again. So I just think there aren't buyers as we might normally expect. And when there aren't buyers, they have to go to a lower price looking for them. So maybe rotation, but we'll see what happens if we head back up and test yesterday's low. Okay, so looking for some support here for a bounce. Not a moment to buy, in my opinion, but to take profits and look to re-enter. Harry P got my bag shorting done. Have a good weekend. Man, maybe wanted to have stayed in that short. Could have been a great day. But I hear you. Enjoy your weekend. Samuel, how do you know the resistance has formed when it bounces? You just watch where the market gets stuck, right? It'll find a certain level and it'll just poke and poke and poke at that one level and it won't be able to get any higher. And then you glance over at the ticks and you see, are the ticks pushing up or are they getting smacked back down? If they're getting smacked back down at the same time that the market is pushing into a certain level and it can't get any higher, that is resistance. WSS, any weight on the job market news, not able to hold the immediate push up. Like I've talked about before, I don't pay attention to those types of numbers. I just pay attention to what's happening in the chart. Broke yesterday's low, getting resistance, bearish. No more complex than that. Don't need to know why it's going up or down. Just need to know which way it's going. All right, Nora Auto Trader. We'll see you on Monday. Scott, where is resistance, you think, after we break the current low today on NQ? You mean support? Like I said, zoom out on the daily. The support is far away on the NQ. All right, just look left. What do you got? Man, you're almost there already. I would say, yeah, like right in here. So like 12, 4, 11. That's where I would see the next major support. As far as resistance, it'll be this node at 12,599. But we are now in a monitor for continuation to the downside mode. Not looking for any specific level for the market to stop, just watching how long it keeps trending lower. What happens when we print the B period and the C and so on. The momentum is clearly to the downside. Uh, 3,900 today? No, that's too far. Man, there is that gap, though. They may try to fill that gap down to like 40.11. But like I said, I'm not, the way I trade, I'm not overly obsessed about where is the market going to stop going down. I'm just focused on how long is it going to keep going down. So I'm short, waiting for cessational one-time framing, right? Waiting for the trend to be over. I'm just going to let them sell as long as they want to sell. I'm just going to go with the momentum and worry about support when we get it. Speaking of which, we're starting to break the support around 67. So the next potential support will be around 56. What does a trend down day look like? You push lower, you build volume, you push lower, you build volume, and it will shock you how far they can keep pushing it as long as they keep doing it like that. David Cooper. ES is breaking that Head and Shoulders. Also, good morning. Philip, they can push till you go broke. That is quite literally what they do. It's called capitulation. They push it as far down as they can until every single bull, every single person who's expecting a bounce finally gives up, and then the bounce comes. The ticks seem to be working on mine. All right, buyers trying to defend that support. So let's see what happens when we get back to the zero line on the ticks. Do the sellers come back in and pile it on down? RK, don't you dare. All right, we've printed the B period now. Trading Donkey, good morning. All right, so now we're going to test when we get to that zero line. Do the sellers come pile in? Or are we able to get those ticks back above the zero? Alex, what are you drinking? Liquid cocaine. Coffee. It's coffee. Okay, we just created a poor low. So we would expect the market to push away from the poor low, testing that resistance once again. But it increases the odds that the market wants to get 2 ticks below that A period low, repairing the poor low. Alex, yeah, you're just going to have to get used to it. I have terrible microphone etiquette. I sip my coffee, I clear my throat, I sneeze, I cough. It's going to happen. Yep, advancers versus decliners looking pretty bearish. The question is really the ticks. Can they get them above that 0 line? Can they get some buyers to try to recover this thing? At least to head up and test yesterday's low. All right, they broke the first resistance. But do not lose sight of that poor low. That is in need of repair. So any push is likely just a push away from that poor low. John Q. Oh, that's funny. Malcolm, listen to Bling Again, Charles, thinking of another video that you may want to work on. How to develop your ability to thin slice the market. Oh, the book. The Malcolm Gladwell book. Is that what you're talking about? All right. Is there resistance here at the halfback? Wait, Malcolm, is this Malcolm Gladwell? Am I talking to the man? Yeah, no, that's a great book. Ihab, double bottom at the lows. Um, yeah, a regular candlestick trader would see it that way. I see it as being poor and in need of repair. I see it as short-term traders trying to buy the support to recover the market. But as soon as they get up to that resistance, they take profits, and then the market comes back down. Is Beehive weak? Yeah, I mean, I guess technically it is. Jim Dalton would consider that weak because it's right at the halfback. But I was expecting resistance there. So I'm not going to become overly obsessed with that. But you're right, technically it is weak. Alex halfback is at the POC. Yeah, it's a little early in the day to bring the POC into play. Generally, we focus on that after we get cessation. As long as it's trending, I mean, it's not technically trending yet, but I'm of the opinion that we're going to trend. And if that's the case, the first focus is when does the trend end? As long as the market is still trending lower, you just stay with the momentum. You stay with the direction it's going. Obviously, we don't get an official signal one way or another until we print the C period. But it's hard to be bullish on a breakout of balance and value lower. Rav, what platform am I using? Well, what you're seeing on the screen right now, this is called Window Trader. It's not a platform, it's just software, so you can't trade or anything on it. Just look at the chart. And then this one back here is Thinkorswim. But I do my trading on TradingView. That's where I enter and exit. Okay, testing this support once again. Still got a poor low in need of repair. Rav, new subscriber here. Welcome, welcome. You're not in a trade right now. I don't talk about my trades, but I will just tell you, I was looking for a bounce off the poor low into resistance to go back and repair the poor low, as I said. Hustler forever. Damn, they made me work so hard for 10 points today. A couple losses, but ended up winning. Well, that's all that matters. The losses are part of the process of winning. That's the name of the game. Gunk, I didn't realize you executed off TradingView. Haven't many folks doing that. Yeah, I like it. It's not the most advanced platform or whatever, but it works. Most advanced for trading, obviously. It's very advanced for charting. Alex, a fellow on another channel I follow, designed a TPO for TradingView. That's interesting. I would check that out. All right, testing this resistance once again. Smackdown. Earlier, I'd said I would go neutral if we got above the opening price. I would say now if we get back into yesterday's range, I'll go neutral. But still expecting resistance here. Arcaleon 4190 before the end of the day. 4190. Doesn't seem likely, but never say never. Remember, to get a bounce like that, we got to get capitulation first. We got to convince the whole market to go short. That has not happened with a poor low. Poor low means short-term traders are trying to save the market. But it's not the bigger money players who bought at exactly the A period low. And it's the bigger money players that make the big moves. Okay, testing the resistance at yesterday's low. Ticks are looking good. They're holding them above the zero line. So if they break through there, I will be back to neutral, but certainly not bullish. All right, well, I'm back to neutral. I would have expected a set of sellers to be waiting right there to pile onto a short. So the fact that we didn't get that tells me something else is happening in the market. So next potential resistance is the opening price at 41.17. So obviously this is short covering taking place here with the tempo and the thin volume. Anita, how do you know the big players are in control? Well, you never really know, but you can get insights from the way the market trades. Whenever there's a lot of buying happening at an exact level, right? So like the way the B period was right next to the A period low, why did they buy that? Who bought that? Somebody that was just looking at the candlesticks and we're like, oh, I'm going to put my order right there. You know what I mean? That's not the way bigger players do it. They do what's called like laddering in. They kind of, if they wanted to buy that area, they'd put some orders here and here and here, and they'd kind of ladder in. So the odds of stopping exactly one tick from that A period low is very unlikely, right? They would have had to push a little bit lower and then randomly found support in one of those areas where they have those orders. So that tells me that the buyers were short-term traders. And so what that tells me is, okay, if they're short-term traders, how long are they going to stay in that trade? Are they going to sit in that all day long? Or as soon as the market gets some resistance, I thought we would get it there. We didn't. But as soon as they get into resistance, will they just go ahead and take profits on that long trade? So that's why I think it's short-term traders. Very, very emotional with all these giant wicks. Cannot trust emotional buying. WSS, do you have a support number other than the week low? Yesterday's low, the 5-2 low, 40.56. But note that I'm back to neutral now. Now that we're back inside yesterday's range, it's anyone's ball game once again. So I got to wait for more information. before I'd be ready to enter a trade, even with the poor low. All right. NQ, much harder to read this morning. They got the B period above the A, so the initial balance is to the upside. And they've got value overlapping to lower, which is not quite as bearish as the ES, which has fully lower value. So at this point, to get bearish on the NQ, I'd say you got to get below the halfback and then find resistance. And to get bullish above the overnight high and find support. Otherwise, neutral in the middle, waiting for more information. Look at the advancers versus decliners. That's quite a candle. So that implies they're piling into the stocks that are going up, which is sort of a rotational, sector rotational type of thing. Rocket, this is London covering. I think that's in an hour, right? That's at 11:30. Hustler murder algos on the loose. I mean, there's some algos, but I bet this is short-term traders, bro. This is all those people who are convinced that it can't keep going down, trying to get it to go back up. They're doing a decent job. They're creating support. They're holding those ticks up, but they haven't proven it yet. I stand corrected. The ticks are back below the zero. How come every time you come around my London Bridge, you want to go down? All these sellers push the market lower. Okay, so same as I said with the NQ, but not quite the halfback. I'd say this node of volume just below it. 40.88. If we push back down below that and then get resistance, I would look for a repair of that poor low. But in between, it's no man's land. Still neutral. And of course, if they get the C period above the A period high, we are beginning the process of one time framing higher. So they can certainly start to try to retrace yesterday's range. And then those single prints we left behind will be the resistance. So like this node of volume around the POC is resistance. 41.44 and then 41.82. Excuse me, 41.82 and then 42.16. So it's kind of just a question, which way is the C period going to go? Is it going to break below this resistance that will likely become support, or will it break above that high? Breaking below, I look for a repair of the poor low and then monitor for continuation lower. Breaking the A period high, I look for resistance. If they get through it, monitor for continuation higher. But inside of here, we just don't know. With that, I shall bid you all farewell. Have a wonderful Friday. If you've been thinking about taking the e-course, why not do it this weekend? There's a link right there at the top of the description, and that'll teach you everything you need to know to learn to trade like I do. Of course, you will also have to put in many, many hours of practice, but all the information is there. So give that some thought, and I look forward to seeing everyone on Monday morning. Thank you very much. John Q. Every dip you take, every buy you make, every single trade, long or short today, I'll be stopping you. That was a good one. All right, bye guys.